Welcome to the Q&A session with fitness experts James and Thomas.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's dive straight in. First question, all anonymous. Hi, my question is about what to eat for breakfast. I rarely eat breakfast as my time in the morning is limited. I know this is wrong in the first place. However, is there anything you would recommend to eat for breakfast on the go?
On the go. Ideally, you want to have some sort of a protein-based breakfast. An easy one for on the go is eggs. There's plenty of different ways you can do them. Plenty of different ways you can do them quickly. So it's a nice, easy way to get a little bit of protein, some healthy fats into your diet fairly quickly. Sets you up for the day. Stops you going on the carbohydrate kind of sugar insulin roller coaster for the rest of the day. So it should stop cravings later on. So I would recommend eggs as a good start. Nice and quick, nice and easy.
Good stuff. Okay, next question. Not too sure if this is a relevant question, but I've always wanted to know why the boot camps are only 45 minutes long.
Okay. The reason we do them shorter than, say, what people may spend on a normal workout is because we want the intensity to stay nice and high. We work on a high intensity interval theory, which basically means we want you to do short and sharp bursts of high intensity activity with small bursts of rest in between, which is what you get in the boot camps. However small sometimes you think those rests are, we do them on purpose. This is the best way to burn fat, increase your cardio, so you get your heart and lungs fitter and stronger. And in that 45 minutes we've managed to do that, including a warm-up, a cool-down and stretch off, and it's much more effective than spending 2 hours doing low intensity, slow, steady running on a treadmill or cross train or anything like that.
I think if you could do a boot camp for 2 hours, you're probably not working hard enough.
Yeah.
You should want it to only be 45 minutes.
Less is more.
Less is more.
And also it fits more into people's busy lifestyles. Okay, next question. Why do we tend to put on weight in our mid to late 40s? I'm not qualified to answer this question as I'm in my mid 30s.
Well, the person who's mid-20s will answer that. The main reason people change slightly as they grow old is because your hormonal profile changes is a massive factor. So different hormones affect different fat storages, different areas. As your hormones change as you get older, the different fat storages can change and effectively change the way you look.
I think people also start to get more sedentary as they get older. They go from being active kids to being at school, playing lots of sport, to working at a desk job, to really working at a desk job and working longer and longer hours, and so they become less active. So yeah, that's why the boot camps are good, because you are massively increasing the amount of calories you burn a day as opposed to just sat down behind a desk for 8, 10, 12 hours.
Good stuff. Next question. Hiya, if you are on a diet, people sometimes tell you are not eating enough. How many calories should you eat to lose weight, and do you eat more when you exercise? Also, some people advise to eat before a workout and others say to eat after. Which is it? So 2 questions sort of rolled into one there.
Okay, the big thing with the idea of calorie counting in different diets is that a lot of people look at a blanket diet, something that just gets rolled out for everyone. Actually, what you eat is fairly specific to you. It all depends on how much activity you're doing, what your body needs, how your body recovers, all sorts of different factors. So in terms of calories and how much you should be having, it all does depend on how much kind of your output is, and then have to look at how much you need to put in. You also need to look at various things that your body desperately needs. So when you're doing a lot of training, you do need more protein to let the muscles recover. You need to make sure you're eating plenty of vegetables especially, and a certain amount of fruit, just to get all the vitamins and minerals into your body that aid all the recovery processes. So it is all fairly specific to individual people, but generally if you're on a very low calorie restricted diet, and training hard, it doesn't tend to work, which is actually what most people do as a default, which is why people get very confused with why diets don't necessarily work all the time.
And that this would seem like a perfect opportunity for a shameless plug for our online coaching program, whereby you start the program by filling in a complete lifestyle questionnaire. You do a 3-day nutrition log as well, and then James will advise you on what you should be doing differently.
Good shameless plug. The other part of the question that was in there is eating before and after. Again, it kind of depends on when you're doing your boot camp. We don't want you to eat a massive meal and then come straight down here and do high intensity exercise, because it's not going to be good for you. It all depends on when you're training, when that fits into your day, and how you can work around it. Again, it's a very personal thing. There's no kind of blanket answer to that one.
And I also realised that there was an opportunity for a second shameless plug on the breakfast question, that we have a cookbook out at the moment which has 30 breakfast ideas in, and I know some of those are definitely good for on the go. Email jamie@thefitnessexperts.co.uk for more details. And moving on to the next question. So, hi Jamie, I'd love to know if certain foods actually burn fat, and if they do, which foods are the best to eat so I can eat a ton of them and get rid of all my fat.
Okay. There are foods that are better for having during weight loss, but unfortunately this sounds like what a lot of people want, which is a quick fix. If I eat a ton of this, it'll work, I don't have to do anything else, like a magic pill. Unfortunately, these things don't necessarily exist. Again, like we said before, there's certain things that are good to have and good to have more of if you're trying to lose fat, but it fits into your own personal diet plan. It's something that some people will find effective, others won't. Some people need more of something, some people need less of something, more of something else. So it all comes down to your personal needs, really. There's no magic bean that I can get you to eat which will strip the fat. And if there was, I'd be selling it for a fortune.
Tom, you've gone a bit mute. Any, or are you eating another Scotch egg?
I resent those comments.
Okay, when your muscles hurt so much that you can barely walk, is this from a build-up of lactic acid or where you have torn your muscles? When they are this bad, should you exercise through it even if you can barely move?
That's the sign of a good boot camp.
That is the sign of a good boot camp.
So I think there's a couple of things there. I think no one truly understands delayed onset muscle soreness, the factors that affect it, because sometimes you'll have a session, you'll be fine the next day, and other times you feel absolutely horrendous and you can't move. We try and mitigate against that by doing sort of foam rolling and stretching and try and work on the recovery. So hopefully you should feel like you've done a good workout, but not to this state where you can't walk 3 or 4 days after. Having said that, you've got to kind of see how you feel. If you literally can't walk, you're probably not going to be much use in a boot camp. So in that situation, it might be best to just have a day off and rest and do some stretching and do some foam rolling. But if you think you're just a little bit sore and you could probably do something, then you might as well come down. It's also worth looking at the timetable. That if your legs, so yesterday we had a legs only session, so everyone's legs were really sore today. But then, so looking at Sunday, you've got a more sort of strongman based session, which may be a little bit more upper body, so you may actually be able to factor that in when it comes to picking which sessions you want to come to.
I think the other thing is how much recovery you do as well. A lot of people feel that they do 45 minutes down here and then that's it. That's them done completely. And in a sense, we get as much of a well-rounded session in as we can, but we only do the last kind of 5 minutes of stretching out. Ideally, if you know you've had a hard session, you need to go away and carry on doing some more stretches yourself. If you ever need any stretches for certain parts that certain things that you need to stretch out more than normal, then feel free to ask any one of us and we'll give you the stretches you need to do. But if you feel like you've had a session where you are going to feel like that, then carry on the recovery afterwards. Keep the stretching going, make sure you're staying hydrated, make sure you're fueling your body properly and let it recover as it needs to.
And also, I would just add to that that some of the feedback I get is that particularly people feel like this a lot on their first couple of boot camps when they maybe haven't done anything for a long time or have never done anything like the boot camps. I think it's probably more normal, would you say, to feel that kind of going from nothing to doing your first boot camp, and you shouldn't expect to feel that every single time. Your body starts to adapt to it, and you kind of get used to it more.
Yeah. If your body's not used to pushing itself that hard, it'll take longer to recover.
Okay, we're nearly through these. My one question is this: what am I doing wrong? I'm eating 300 calories for breakfast, lunch and evening meal, and 200 calories as a snack twice a day. I have 2 PT sessions and go to 3 classes per week. My fitness levels have improved tremendously and I have a BMI of 29. I used to lose weight by just not eating. I'm now 50 and I've been training since September and was told to increase my calorie intake, which I did. I changed gyms because I wasn't getting the results I wanted, but the weight isn't going down. I know that muscle weighs more than fat, but I'm not the size 10 I want and fight for. Can you help?
Okay, I think...
Wow, that's a long question.
That's a big question. I think with things like this, number one is there's a kind of a big thing about how many calories people have, and it does play a massive part. You also need to look at how that all breaks down, because you can have 300 calories a meal and it be not the right foods but still add up to 300 calories. Also looking at, you know, different parts of training, whether some people, you know, train a lot more just with boot camp, some people get their personal training, some people do other bits and pieces as well outside of here, for instance going running or stuff like that. And all different types of training needs different types of kind of recovery, if you like, in terms of what you're putting in nutritionally. So although it can feel like sometimes nothing seems to be moving, and weight does seem to be something people get hung up on quite a lot, just minor changes can really affect how things work. A lot of people also have a problem with the way they think about food as, you know, I've got my couple of meals a day, my 3 meals a day, and my how many snacks, but we'll always do them at the same times and won't think about how they need to bring that in terms of when they train and things like that. There's plenty of different factors that can all be involved. It's something that needs to be looked at on a kind of personal level.
Okay, moving on. Sometimes I am unable to make a boot camp due to work. What one exercise could I do which would have the most benefit? For example, 25 push-ups 3 times over in an evening, which is what I often do, but is it even worth doing? Look forward to hearing the answer.
Okay, there's things like that do work quite well. You know, home workouts, doing something short but fairly intense at home can be a good way to replace a boot camp if you need to, which is why on the online coaching we do have a whole section on home workouts where we give people several different types of workouts to do when they're at home and they can't make it into boot camp for whatever reason. It's definitely worth doing something. Just completely ignoring it and saying, oh, I'm not going to bother because I can't make it, just will end up spiralling into, well, I might as well have, you know, a rubbish dinner now because I'm not working out. I might as well turn it into a full cheat day, and everything kind of ends up spiraling out. So the best thing to do is to do something. Short and sharp bursts. You think of how we do things in a boot camp. We give you intense exercise and then a certain amount of rest, and then we go again. So things like that work perfectly. There's no one exercise. You just want to make sure you're hitting a good, full, well-rounded session. So if you do spend a lot of your time doing push-ups at home, you need to think that it's not just your chest and triceps you want to be working. You want to make sure the rest of the body gets some work done as well. So just think of all the different parts of your body you need to train and try and hit everything. Obviously you're not going to get as good a session as you would coming down to a boot camp, but it's worth doing something rather than nothing to replace it.
Good stuff. Okay, well, that is the last of the questions. I think we should round it up, and this is not a shameless plug, this is just an observation, in that actually it occurs to me that pretty much every single one of those questions, the person sending it would have benefited from the online coaching program. We got, like you said there, James, you've got home workouts on there. I think there's like 9 or 10 different home workout videos you've put up on there. We've got breakfast ideas getting added all the time. Everyone on the coaching program gets the Fitness Experts cookbook free of charge, being kind of drip fed into the program there. The lifestyle questionnaire that you do, the nutrition log, there's a Q&A button on there so they can just ping questions over to you whenever you like. So I would say to all the people who send in questions, one of the best things you can do is test drive the online program. It's just £1 for 10 days. You can just try it out, no obligation, and get some real good advice, personalised advice from James. Anything else to add on that, gentlemen?
That's it.
Keep boot camping.
Keep boot camping.
Till next time.